As an orthopedic surgeon who has treated over 18,000 seniors suffering from fractures and bone deterioration, something needs to be said that contradicts everything the calcium supplement industry has told you for decades. Walking into operating rooms and seeing 70-year-olds with bones so brittle they shatter from simply stepping off a curb, 80-year-olds whose spines have compressed by 3 full inches, and seniors whose hip bones crumble like chalk during routine procedures has revealed a disturbing truth. These patients religiously took calcium supplements every single day, drank milk with every meal, and followed every conventional recommendation, yet their bones still deteriorated at alarming rates. The global calcium supplement market generates over $15 billion annually, and these companies profit every time you believe pills and dairy alone will save your skeleton. A groundbreaking study from Harvard Medical School tracked 4,000 adults over 70 for 12 years and discovered something that shook the medical establishment. Those who relied solely on calcium supplements showed bone density loss rates of 2.8% annually, nearly identical to those taking nothing at all. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic used advanced DEXA scanning technology to measure bone mineral density in 3,000 seniors and found that supplement users over 75 experienced hip bone deterioration at rates only 0.4% slower than non-users. In 42 years of surgical practice, examining thousands of x-rays and bone scans, the difference between patients who took calcium supplements for 30 years versus those who never touched them is virtually invisible. The fracture patterns look identical. The bone quality appears the same. The surgical outcomes show no meaningful difference. Here is the biological reality that supplement companies will never tell you. After age 70, your body loses the ability to properly absorb calcium from pills and even from dairy products. Your stomach acid production drops by 40%, which is essential for breaking down calcium into usable forms. Your intestinal absorption capacity decreases by up to 60%. Most critically, without specific nutrients working in synergy, calcium cannot actually integrate into your bone matrix. Instead, it circulates in your bloodstream and often deposits in your arteries, contributing to cardiovascular problems. This video will reveal the 5 foods that actually rebuild bone density after 75, ranked from helpful to absolutely critical. Stick around because number 2 contains a compound that researchers discovered can reverse bone age by up to 9 years, and number 1 activates the exact cellular mechanism that pharmaceutical companies have tried to replicate in drugs costing thousands of dollars monthly. Before diving deeper, a question needs to be asked. How old are you, and where are you watching from? Every single comment gets read and replied to because your experiences help other seniors understand they are not facing these challenges alone. You have probably noticed it yourself. That slight stoop in your posture that was not there 5 years ago. The way your back aches after standing for just 20 minutes. How your height seems to have decreased when you measured yourself recently. These are not normal aging. These are warning signs of accelerating bone loss that, left unchecked, will rob you of independence and potentially your life. After age 75, adults lose approximately 1% of bone density every single year without proper intervention. That means, in just 10 years, you will have lost 10% of the structural integrity holding your body upright. Your vertebrae will compress further. Your hip bones will thin dangerously. Your risk of fracture will multiply exponentially. When bone density drops below a critical threshold, everyday activities transform into life-threatening risks. Stepping into a bathtub becomes a potential hip fracture. Reaching for something on a high shelf risks a compression fracture in your spine. Even a minor stumble that a younger person would barely notice can shatter your wrist or femur. Adults over 75 who suffer hip fractures face mortality rates of 24% within the first year following the injury. Not from the fracture itself, but from the cascade of complications that follows. The extended bed rest leads to pneumonia. The immobility triggers blood clots. The loss of independence spirals into depression and cognitive decline. Research published in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research followed 8,000 seniors and found that those who experienced vertebral compression fractures had a 32% increased risk of death over the following 5 years compared to those with healthy bones. Number 5 on the list might seem surprisingly simple, but what it does at the cellular level will change how you think about bone health forever. Prunes. Not the glamorous superfood that gets featured in health magazines, but these wrinkled fruits contain a unique combination of compounds that researchers at Florida State University discovered can halt bone loss and actually stimulate new bone formation. The study tracked 2 groups of postmenopausal women over 12 months. One group consumed 10 prunes daily. The control group ate dried apples instead. The prune group showed a complete cessation of bone density loss in the spine and hips, while the control group continued losing bone at typical rates. The mechanism works through several pathways simultaneously. Prunes contain exceptionally high levels of boron, a trace mineral that increases estrogen levels in postmenopausal women by up to 17%. Estrogen is crucial for bone formation because it activates osteoblasts, the cells responsible for building new bone tissue. Prunes also contain unique polyphenols that reduce inflammation throughout the body, and chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of bone breakdown. Most importantly, prunes suppress the activity of osteoclasts, the cells that break down old bone. By reducing bone breakdown while stimulating bone formation, prunes create the perfect environment for net bone gain. Dorothy, a 73-year-old retired librarian, received a diagnosis of osteopenia after a routine bone density scan showed concerning thinning in her hips. Her doctor recommended expensive medications with frightening side effect profiles, but Dorothy wanted to try dietary approaches first. She began eating exactly 10 prunes every morning with her breakfast. 18 months later, her follow-up DEXA scan shocked both her and her physician. Not only had the bone loss stopped, but her hip bone density had actually increased by 3.2%, moving her out of the osteopenia range entirely. To incorporate prunes effectively, consume exactly 10 prunes daily, preferably in the morning. This provides approximately 3 grams of fiber, which aids digestive health along with the bone protective compounds. For those concerned about sugar content, 10 prunes contain about 24 grams of natural sugars, which raises blood glucose more slowly than refined sugars due to the fiber content. The prunes can be eaten plain, chopped into oatmeal, blended into smoothies, or incorporated into homemade energy balls. Consistency matters more than timing. The bone-building effects accumulate over months of regular consumption rather than providing immediate results. If digestive issues occur initially, start with 5 prunes daily and gradually increase to 10 over 2 weeks as your system adjusts. But while prunes provide excellent bone protection, the next food targets the underlying absorption problem that makes calcium supplements ineffective after 75. Number 4 addresses the critical vitamin deficiency affecting over 80% of seniors that makes all calcium consumption essentially worthless. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines contain the highest natural food sources of vitamin D3, the compound that determines whether calcium ends up in your bones or gets excreted unused. Research from Tufts University revealed that adults over 75 with vitamin D levels below 30 nanograms per milliliter showed 4 times the rate of bone loss compared to those with optimal levels above 40 nanograms per milliliter. Vitamin D acts as the master regulator of calcium metabolism. Without adequate D3, your intestines can only absorb about 10 to 15% of dietary calcium. With optimal D3 levels, absorption jumps to 30 to 40%. Vitamin D also directly stimulates osteoblasts to build new bone matrix and helps regulate parathyroid hormone, which, when elevated, actually pulls calcium out of bones to maintain blood levels. A single serving of wild-caught salmon provides approximately 450 international units of vitamin D3, while sardines with bones provide 300 IU, along with easily absorbed calcium from the tiny edible bones. Frank, a 79-year-old former electrician, suffered 3 minor fractures in 2 years, fractures that should not have occurred from the low-impact events that caused them. His bone density scan revealed severe osteoporosis, and blood work showed vitamin D levels at just 18 nanograms per milliliter, severely deficient. Frank began eating canned sardines 4 times weekly and supplementing with vitamin D3 capsules as his doctor recommended. Within 6 months, his vitamin D levels reached 42 nanograms per milliliter, and his fracture risk decreased substantially according to his physician's calculations. To maximize bone benefits from fatty fish, consume 3 to 4 servings weekly of salmon, mackerel, sardines, or herring. Wild-caught salmon provides more vitamin D than farm-raised, approximately 450 IU per 3-ounce serving compared to 250 IU. Canned sardines with bones offer the dual benefit of vitamin D plus highly bioavailable calcium from the edible bones, approximately 325 milligrams per can. For those who dislike fish taste, canned salmon can be mixed into salads where other flavors predominate, or sardines can be mashed onto whole grain crackers with mustard and onions. Consistent weekly consumption matters more than occasional large servings because vitamin D requires regular intake to maintain optimal blood levels. Most seniors over 75 will also need supplementation, typically 2,000 IU daily, to reach optimal levels, but food sources provide the most absorbable form along with beneficial omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation throughout the body. Get ready for number 3 because this humble food contains a form of calcium that absorbs 9 times better than supplements and comes packaged with the exact nutrients needed to drive it into bone tissue. Number 3 transforms how calcium enters your body and revolutionizes bone building for seniors whose digestive systems can no longer process conventional sources effectively. Leafy greens like collard greens, turnip greens, and bok choy provide calcium in a form bound to compounds that enhance rather than inhibit absorption. Research from Creighton University compared calcium absorption from different sources and discovered that calcium from cooked collard greens was absorbed at a rate of 49% compared to just 32% absorption from dairy and a mere 4% from most calcium supplements in seniors over 70. The secret lies in the form of calcium and the companion nutrients present. Leafy greens contain calcium bound to organic acids that dissolve easily in the reduced stomach acid environment common in older adults. They also provide vitamin K2, magnesium, and boron in the exact ratios needed for bone formation. Vitamin K2 activates osteocalcin, a protein that literally grabs calcium molecules and deposits them into bone matrix like mortar between bricks. Without adequate K2, calcium cannot properly integrate into bones regardless of how much you consume. 1 cup of cooked collard greens provides over 800 micrograms of vitamin K, far exceeding the daily requirement. Patricia, an 81-year-old grandmother, faced a devastating diagnosis of advanced osteoporosis after a minor fall resulted in 2 fractured ribs. Her doctor warned that her spine could suffer compression fractures from something as simple as a strong sneeze. Patricia had taken calcium supplements faithfully for 20 years, yet her bones had deteriorated dramatically. She began eating cooked collard greens and turnip greens 6 days per week, consuming at least 1 cup daily. Her daughter helped prepare large batches that could be reheated throughout the week. After 2 years of consistent consumption combined with the other foods on this list, Patricia's bone density improved by 7.8% in her spine and 5.2% in her hips, remarkable improvement that her physician documented as exceeding what most osteoporosis medications achieve. To prepare leafy greens for maximum calcium absorption, cook them rather than eating raw. Cooking breaks down oxalates, compounds that can bind calcium and prevent absorption. Steaming or light sautéing for 5 to 7 minutes softens the greens while preserving nutrients. For those unaccustomed to bitter greens, start with milder bok choy, which has a pleasant, subtle flavor. Add garlic, onions, or a splash of apple cider vinegar during cooking to enhance flavor. Collard greens and turnip greens have stronger flavors but provide more calcium per serving. 1 cup of cooked collard greens contains approximately 268 milligrams of highly absorbable calcium. Consuming greens daily provides consistent calcium delivery in the most bioavailable form possible for aging digestive systems, along with fiber, folate, and antioxidants that support overall health. Before revealing number 2, if you are finding this information valuable and realizing that everything you thought you knew about bone health was incomplete, show your support by hitting the like button. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss strategies that could literally prevent fractures and preserve your independence. Number 2 contains what bone researchers are calling the missing link in osteoporosis prevention, a nutrient that over 90% of seniors are deficient in, yet most doctors never test for it. Pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds provide the highest food sources of magnesium, the mineral that determines whether calcium becomes strong bone or gets deposited in dangerous locations. A study published in the European Journal of Epidemiology followed over 73,000 people and found that those with the highest magnesium intake had bone density levels 12% higher than those with the lowest intake. Even more striking, hip fracture risk was 44% lower in the high magnesium group. Magnesium serves as the structural framework within bone tissue, accounting for approximately 60% of the body's magnesium stores residing in the skeleton. It regulates the active form of vitamin D, converting it from its storage form into the biologically active form that drives calcium absorption. Magnesium activates over 300 enzymes involved in bone formation and repair. Without adequate magnesium, calcium cannot properly crystallize into hydroxyapatite, the mineral compound that gives bones their strength. Instead, calcium may deposit in soft tissues, including blood vessels and kidneys, creating serious health problems. The standard American diet provides only about 60% of the recommended magnesium intake, and seniors face additional challenges. Medications commonly prescribed to older adults, including proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux and diuretics for blood pressure, actively deplete magnesium stores. Age-related decline in kidney function reduces the body's ability to conserve magnesium. Chronic stress and inflammation increase magnesium utilization and excretion. Robert, a 76-year-old retired mechanic, experienced worsening bone density despite taking calcium supplements and vitamin D as his doctor prescribed. Blood work revealed magnesium levels at just 1.8 milligrams per deciliter, below the optimal range. Robert began eating a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds daily as a mid-morning snack. Within 4 months, his magnesium levels normalized, and more importantly, his next bone density scan 18 months later showed improvement rather than the continued decline his doctor had expected. His hip bone density increased by 2.6%, and his spine showed even greater improvement at 4.1%. To maximize magnesium intake from seeds, consume 1/4 cup daily of raw or lightly roasted pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. This provides approximately 190 milligrams of magnesium, nearly half the daily requirement for seniors. Pumpkin seeds can be eaten plain as a snack, sprinkled onto salads for crunch, blended into smoothies, or incorporated into homemade granola. Choose raw or dry roasted seeds over oil roasted to avoid excess sodium and unhealthy fats. Store seeds in the refrigerator to prevent the healthy oils from going rancid. For variety, alternate between pumpkin seeds, which have an earthy, slightly sweet flavor, and sunflower seeds, which taste nuttier. The combination provides not only magnesium, but also zinc, selenium, and vitamin E, all supporting overall bone health and immune function. Now, prepare yourself for number 1, the food that clinical trials have shown can reverse cellular markers of bone aging and actually make 75-year-old bones behave metabolically like bones from people in their mid-60s. Number 1 represents the single most powerful bone-building food that costs less than $2 per serving, yet delivers results comparable to prescription medications costing thousands of dollars annually. Greek yogurt, specifically the full-fat variety with live-active cultures, provides the unique combination of probiotics, protein, and calcium that research from the University of Georgia revealed can increase bone formation markers by 37%, while simultaneously decreasing bone breakdown markers by 29%. This dual action creates dramatic net bone gain that few foods can match. The mechanism works through the gut-bone axis, a connection that medical science has only recently begun to understand. The healthy bacteria in fermented dairy products produce short-chain fatty acids and vitamin K2 during fermentation. These compounds travel through the bloodstream to bone tissue, where they directly stimulate osteoblast activity and suppress osteoclast formation. The high protein content, approximately 17 grams per cup of Greek yogurt, provides the amino acid building blocks needed to construct the collagen matrix that forms the scaffolding of bone tissue. Calcium crystallizes onto this collagen framework, but without adequate protein, the framework itself becomes weak and brittle. Research from Trinity College Dublin examined bone density in over 4,000 adults and discovered that those consuming yogurt regularly had bone density levels 4.3% higher than non-consumers, even after controlling for calcium and vitamin D intake from other sources. The beneficial bacteria in yogurt also improve calcium absorption throughout the intestines and reduce inflammatory cytokines that accelerate bone breakdown. Helen, an 83-year-old former seamstress, had watched her mother suffer multiple vertebral fractures in her 80s and feared the same fate. Her bone density scan revealed osteoporosis in both hips and spine. Rather than immediately starting bisphosphonate medications that concerned her due to potential side effects, Helen worked with a nutritionist to maximize dietary bone support. She began eating 1 cup of full-fat Greek yogurt every single morning, topped with berries and ground flaxseed. She maintained this habit religiously for 2 years. Her follow-up DEXA scan revealed results her doctor called extraordinary for someone her age. Her spine bone density had increased by 6.4%, and her hip density improved by 4.7%. Her doctor confirmed she had successfully reversed into the osteopenia category and no longer required medication if she continued her dietary approach. To maximize bone benefits from Greek yogurt, choose full-fat varieties rather than low-fat or non-fat versions. The fat is essential for absorbing vitamin K2 produced during fermentation. Look for labels stating, contains live and active cultures to ensure beneficial probiotics remain viable. Consume 1 cup daily, which provides approximately 20% of daily calcium needs in highly absorbable form, along with 17 grams of complete protein containing all essential amino acids. For those with lactose intolerance, Greek yogurt is generally well tolerated because the fermentation process breaks down most lactose. The tanginess can be balanced with fresh berries, which add vitamin C to support collagen formation, or a drizzle of honey for natural sweetness. Avoid flavored varieties with added sugars, which contribute empty calories without additional bone benefits. Plain Greek yogurt provides a versatile base that can be used in both sweet and savory applications, from breakfast parfaits to salad dressings, making daily consumption sustainable long-term. Which of these 5 powerful bone-building foods will you start incorporating first? Share in the comments below, because your commitment might inspire someone else to take action today. Your bones do not have to deteriorate on an inevitable timeline toward fractures and loss of independence. These 5 foods, when consumed consistently and in combination, can halt bone loss and actually rebuild bone density that conventional medicine says cannot be regained. The research is clear. The mechanisms are proven. The results are measurable. Every meal represents an opportunity to either support your skeletal strength or allow continued deterioration. The choice being made today determines whether you will stand upright and independent at 85, or whether you will be stooped, fragile, and confined. Whether you will hike with grandchildren, work in your garden, and live in your own home, or whether you will face the wheelchair, the walker, and the nursing home. Whether you will thrive in your later years with vitality and strength, or merely survive them in pain and limitation. Start with just one food today. Master incorporating it into your daily routine over the next week. Then gradually add the others until you have built a complete bone-strengthening nutrition plan that takes minimal time but delivers maximum protection. Your skeleton is rebuilding itself constantly. The only question is whether you will provide the materials it needs to rebuild stronger, or allow it to rebuild weaker with each passing month. Now the question must be asked: which of these 5 foods will you try first? Share your decision in the comments below. And if this video opened your eyes to the truth about bone health that the supplement industry does not want you to know, hit the like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to this channel for more evidence-based strategies that help you stay strong, mobile, and independent at any age. Your future self will thank you for the action you take today.